What's up, fam? Going live on Instagram right now. There we go. Going to be talking about the astrology of the week ahead today. Pull some tarot cards, go over some other things, shoot the shit. Let's wait for everybody to come in. Grand Rising, welcome. Hello. I'm going to be waving at folks as they come in. How's everybody doing? Happy Moon Day, February 9th, 2026. It's about 10:03 a.m. Pacific time. The moon is in Scorpio, I believe. Let's take a look and see where the moon's at today. Grand Rising, hello. How's everybody doing? How's everybody's weekend? Let's go and take a look at where the moon. Oh, yep, the moon's right at 23 degrees Scorpio. Good morning. Welcome. Welcome. How's everybody doing? So the first thing we're gonna do today, like I think I've been doing this the last couple of weeks, is pull some cards for the week ahead, for the energies of the week ahead. Everybody enjoy the Super Bowl yesterday? Bad Bunny's performance was pretty cool. I watched it through my mom's iPhone. My mom was live streaming it for me. Oh goodness. We're gonna start off with some with a card pull for the energies of the week, and then we're gonna talk about the planets. Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Thank you for being here. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Um, with the shower I took this morning, one of the things I do before I do these lives is I take a shower and I tend to get like messages. I like feel into the water and I'm like, all right, spirit, like what is gonna be the energies of the week this week? What's some guidance, some energy, what's some guidance, some insight I could give the people? And what came to me when I was in the shower is that many people are at the precipice of a big life change or transition right now. Like many people are like right there in that sweet spot of transition and change. But what also came through with that energy of being in that space of transition and change, what also came through was grief and like sadness and like mourning and this like attachment or this longing for the past or what used to be or what was. So there's something about we're still a little emotionally processing, we're still emotionally moving through things of the past that are kind of like they're kind of like haunting us a little bit. They're kind of keeping us stuck or holding us back a little bit. And it's like a longing, it's like we're missing something. And this could also be an energy of because something left or something exited that we're grieving or that we're mourning that we didn't want to let go of or that we didn't want to leave, or we didn't want to move away from. And so it's really important. Someone said this is exactly what I've been talking about in therapy lately. Someone else said, I'm sitting with grief this morning, father wound stuff. Someone said, definitely melancholy. Yes, because what we're collectively doing right now as like a humanity, as like a people, is we're grieving like the 2000s, the 90s, the 80s, the 70s. We're grieving this timeline that we're leaving. And this truth that reality as we know it is changing dramatically and it's changing fast. And we're feeling like some of us are feeling like we're being left behind. But it's like we're like we have to lean in though, my loves. And it's one of the things I want to tell you guys is like, you know, yeah, we're in this space of like transition, where we're on the precipice of a big change. Yeah, it's sad that there's certain things that we're leaving behind or that we're exiting or that, have left us, or even people that have left us, right? You got to think about it since 2020 and the whole vid thing, right? The pandemic, a lot of people have passed away. There's been a lot of people that have passed away. So there's this kind of collective grief and collective sadness, but then there's also this energy that came through of collective hope and this excitement for what's to come. And it's a mixture of anxiety and fear and excitement and like anticipation. And that's like we want to just move through this period. We want to just move through this grief. We're ready to get started with the next thing. But then I got this message around this energy of wait, like stop, like the stop sign, wait, stop, yield, like there's traffic right now. Like you're stuck in traffic, right? We can't go nowhere. Just hold on, be patient. Like there's this energy of the universe saying like, wait a minute. There's no need to rush through this uncomfortable moment. There's no need to rush through this moment of sadness or grief or frustration. Or there's like, we don't want to rush through this. You need to be present with yourself because you're taking all of yourself with you into this next chapter, right? And that awareness and that presence is important because what you're going to be taking with you, the discernment around what is meant to come with us into the next chapter, what is meant to come with us into the next timeline, what's meant to come with us into the future is needed and necessary right now because the universe is trying to point at certain things right now and tell you this is something that is you got to leave behind. This is something that you can't take with you. This is something that's an element of your past, right? This is something that you don't need anymore. This is something that, you don't identify with anymore. It could be aspects of yourself, behaviors, whatever, right? So I think it's we also need to be in this place of awareness and discernment around what is coming with us and what we are taking with us into the next timeline, okay? So yeah, all right, let's go ahead and pull some cards. These cards, look at these. You know when you use a deck because it starts to get shaped like this. It starts to develop a curve. A well-used deck starts to develop a curve, okay? The moon must be a Scorpio today, I swear. If it's well used, it starts to curve a little bit, okay? Oh my goodness. Look at this. That's funny. That's why I go like this. You'll see like whenever I have a deck, I always like try to push it back this way to get it. Someone said clutches pearls. Um, okay, let's go and pull these cards. You guys need to stop. You guys are putting me in my naughty space. Well, the moon's going over my Venus right now, by the way. So my Venus and Scorpio is being activated. So we might have a few more dirty jokes today than usual. Okay. Let's see. Oh, we got a card. Oh, the Six of Pentacles came out. Oh, I love this. Oh, I really like the Six of Pentacles coming out for the week. I have a Oh, okay. Well, I have a whole bunch of cards that fell, but I'm gonna just pull the two that there's two cards that were upright from the pile of cards that fell on the floor, and they're the Chariot and the Nine of Swords. So we're gonna talk. I'm gonna take those because I'm pretty sure that those are meant to be taken as well. And then I'm gonna flip over the deck and look at the card on the bottom of the deck. Here, let's do this. Let's do this. It's a little messy here with the cards today. Oh, temperance, patience. Okay, cool. Temperance, balance, patience, integration, healing. Um, Also being optimistic or positive is a really it's like a guiding message from spirit right now. Spirit is saying we need to maintain this energy of hope and optimism and like positivity. And we need to do it in an authentic way. So this is kind of like doing your gratitude prayer, taking a look at the things that you're thankful for, taking a look at the good stuff in your life, being very clear around your goals and your dreams and your direction, the chariot card, the temperance card. So Spirit's also saying like there's a need to kind of clarify direction. Where are we going? What kind of goals, what kind of desires, what kind of dreams, what kind of ambitions do we need to kind of focus on? Because that's going to give us the hope. That's going to give us the objective. That gives us the okay, this is what is also coming through. It gives us the drive and the motivation to wake up and live every day and do what it is that we got to do. So when we're feeling directionless, when we're feeling lost without a cause, when we're feeling like purposelessness, like no sense of purpose, we're not living in an intentional way, that's when we tend to get very depressed, avoidant, escapist, negative, pessimistic, doubtful, fearful, anxious, when we don't have this clarity, when we don't have a vision. And what Spirit is even saying right now is like, that's something that we got to work on within ourselves. So there's another message coming through of if you're confused around what it is that you want to do, where it is that you want to go, like where it is that you should live, where it is that you should be, like who you want to be, who you want to become, like whatever, your goals, your dreams, whatever, you need to sit with yourself. You need to get to know yourself a little bit. Spirit is telling me that it's not going to come from like an outside, you're not going to get answers or clarity from like an outside source. You literally need to sit with yourself and get to know yourself more. And there's another message that's coming through around being very honest with the self and owning the fullness of your goals, desires, dreams, ambitions. So we may be compromising things that we desire or things that we want because we feel like it infringes on other people's goals, because our family doesn't want that for us, because it goes against what our the expectations of our spouse, of our family, of our kids, things like this. There's something about like, oh, I've accepted that I can never have this, or I can never do this, or I can never be this because I have this commitment to this person, because I have this loyalty to this person, because whatever, whatever. And it's like Spirit is saying, no, 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 no. You need to be a little selfish right now with what it is that you want for yourself. And you need to really think about what is best for you. Because what Spirit is telling me is kind of like doing this compromising thing, compromising your desires or goals and dreams it's leaving you maybe resentful and angry and frustrated. And it's also making you feel depressed or sad, or like it's putting us in a negative energy. So Spirit is saying there needs to be this kind of reclamation of self, this reclamation of personal goals and desires, which is something that we're going to talk about today with Neptune and Saturn going into Aries. This this message coming through the tarot makes a lot of sense with the ingress of Neptune and Saturn. Neptune's already in Aries, Saturn's going to be going into Aries from 13th to the 14th. Because Neptune and Saturn, the message around from Neptune and Saturn, right? It's about individual desires and individual goals. And it's about kind of reclaiming the self outside of um, a lot of our entanglements in relationships, a lot of our relational entanglements. So it's like family members, friends, coworkers, your job, your boss, your parents. It's like we have a lot of these karmic entanglements with people that keep us entrenched, that keep us stuck, and that keep us small, or that keep us acquiescence, which is, oh, I'm just gonna accept my position. I'm just gonna accept the way things are, because if I do something different, or if I grow out of this position of this place, this person may not like it, or this may create dramatic change, and all of a sudden it creates challenges in my personal life, in my family life, in my friendship life, in my social life. It's also, I'm getting a strong message of emotional attachments to jobs and work and people at the job or people at the work, but that is like holding us back from a new frontier, a new opportunity, a better job, a promotion somewhere else, leaving. It's like the things that we've been invested in for a long time, and the certain patterns that we've been invested in for a long time, whatever, they're keeping us stuck in a way. And Spirit is saying, no, we need this change, okay? Okay. The other message that I have coming through the tarot, I got the Six of Pentacles and the Nine of Swords. Okay. And let me tell you what this is about. This is about finding equilibrium and balance in the give and take in our relationships and partnerships, and especially in the way that we communicate with others. You guys got to listen. Okay. What Spirit is saying is some of you are feeling tapped out, drained, and exhausted because you're listening to people's problems and issues, and there's no energetic exchange happening, and you're taking on people's negative energy, their negative thoughts, their negative ideas, their negative words, their negative perceptions, their negative beliefs, their negative perspectives, their negative ideas. And Spirit is saying we need strong discernment right now around who we're communicating with, who we're talking to. Because this whole Six of Pentacles, Nine of Swords thing is about giving out your energy and then getting back nothing or getting back negativity. It's like you're giving out your positivity, you're giving out your grace, you're giving out your love, you're giving out your compassion, you're even sharing ideas with people that you have that you're excited about for yourself. Oh, I'm going to be going back to school. Oh, I'm going to be moving here. Oh, I'm starting this business. You're sharing these ideas, and guess what? You're sharing them with people that are negative, that are pessimistic, that don't believe in you, that are jealous, that are envious, that don't like themselves, that don't love themselves, they don't love life. They don't love their kids. They don't love their family. Okay. And you're like expecting some kind of support, some kind of positivity, some kind of reciprocation from these people that are just not able to give. They don't have it. They don't have it. They don't have what you need. They don't have that love and that affection. They don't have that compassion and that understanding. They don't have that self-love. Okay. They lack self-love, which is why they can't give you love properly. Okay. So what Spirit is kind of saying is like, we kind of need to take a look at the imbalances that are happening, especially in our social relational life, that are causing a lot of distress and anxiety. Like you're letting that person, you're letting that coworker, you're letting that boss, you're letting that sibling, you're letting that parent stress you the fuck out for why? For what? What is it doing? Nothing. It's doing nothing for you. So what I'm kind of getting with the Six of Pentacles and Nine of Swords, some of you need to like, you need boundaries, communication boundaries. You need to like wrap it up with certain relationships or connections or certain people. Like you may love your mom or dad, but baby, like they're not good for you. They're not healthy for you. They're not giving you good guidance, good advice. They're not supporting you, right? It's always something negative. It's always something pessimistic. It's always what they think, right? Whatever. And it's like you just need to go like no contact, cold turkey. But for some of you, this is also a codependent thing, a codependency thing. Like you become codependent on some of these negative people, or these negative energies in your life, or even like negative thoughts, negative mental patterns, negative mental thoughts. It's like there's a reliance or a codependency or a pattern there because it's comfortable and it's like normalized or it's like it's familiar. So there's a need to break away from this kind of like codependency on something that's very negative or pessimistic or holding you back or like that's like yeah, it's holding you back, it's keeping you down, it's not really pouring into you, okay? And I'm just gonna be very honest with you, my loves, like Seven of Swords coming out, I think it's really important that we take a look at the ways that we and others self-sabotage, the ways that we stand on our own way and we sabotage ourselves. Seven of Swords. A lot of times, oh my God, this is so interesting. Oh, this is a really strong message coming through. Oh my God, somebody needs to hear this. We like there, okay, you know what just came? Okay, this idea that we're like cursed or that we have like bad luck or that like it's like, oh, that's a family curse, you know? Oh, we have bad luck. Oh, I have bad karma. There's this like attachment to this idea that there's like these negative energetic forces outside of us that are causing a lot of like a lot of distress, a lot of bad outcomes, a lot of whatever. But baby, that's just you. It's just you. There's no curse. There's no one putting black magic on you. There's no fucking shit in your family that was done 4 generations ago. No, 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 no. It's all you. It's all you. There's no one sitting there, lighting black candles trying to send you. It's just no. It's just not what it is. It's just not what it is, my loves. It's not what it is. It's you. It's your energy. It's you. And is you inviting in dark, negative, black energy into your life by the way that you're living, by the people that you're talking to, by the things that you're thinking, the things that you're saying. That's what it is. That's what it is. The only way that negative, pessimistic, evil energy can hit you like that is if you have space for it to receive it already. When you are living in a high vibrational positive state, when you're living in your light, living in your truth, Even if someone throws negative energy, evil eye your way, it's not going to hit you. It's not going to affect you. Okay. When you are in a low energetic space, in a weak energetic space, that's when you're vulnerable to energetic attack, right? But what spirit is saying is like it's not even about that though. It's all about you. It's about the way your heart you're holding your energy. It's about the way that you're channeling your energy. It's about the way that you're it's you. It's like spirit is telling us it's us. The message coming through here is it's like it's none of this external thing. Because you know, let me tell you what that does. When we are attached to this idea that there's like some external force, sending negative energy our way, we that actually puts us into a victim state and we become a victim to this like mysterious external negative energy when in actuality it's within us. When in actuality it's our own energetic state that's keeping us there or that's putting us in that space. Okay. And what spirit is kind of saying, it's kind of like we need to take personal accountability over our own energetic disposition, like our intrinsic energetic disposition, the way that you are living, the way that you think, the way that you exist, the day-to-day habits and behaviors, right? That right there sets the energetic foundation for who you are. And when you have a very strong energetic foundation, you are divinely spiritually protected. Nothing can touch you, nothing can get to you, right? So it's kind of like we need to reclaim some of our energy. We need to be very clear around like what we're giving energy to. If we're giving energy to negative things, pessimistic things, like stressing out about being sick, stressing out about your job, stressing out about the things that are out of your control, stressing out about the future, right? So we need to kind of reclaim our energy for ourselves and reclaim this power and this positivity, okay? And realize that we are accountable to our own energy. We have a personal responsibility to be energetically aware of our energetic state. That is the best form of protection. When you are living positively, when you're living joyous, when you're taking care of yourself, when you feel good about yourself, when you love yourself, that is the best energetic protection. So there's the Seven of Swords telling me we need to let go of this idea that there's some external curse, like the family is cursed or I'm cursed or what. Get that out of your head. That's make believe, baby. That's not real. It's not real. I love you. I say that with love. That's not real, okay? All right. I think that's it. That was a good, what, 15, 20 minutes that we spent on some tarot messages. All right, let me pour myself some tea real quick. So we're about to dive into the stars. I got myself a pot of tea today. Little bit of a detox tea. Mmm. Ginger, green tea, fennel, and dandelion. Dandelion root. That's what I'm drinking today. All right, my loves, did that resonate? Did the tarot reading resonate? Let's talk about the stars today. Well, let's talk about the stars now. So we have the moon in Scorpio today. Was anybody looking at what's his name? Was anybody looking at Bad Bunny's astrology? Yeah, fennel is really good for your digestion, actually. It's really good for the liver and it's really good for like digestion and um yeah, the stomach really loves fennel tea. So what's so fascinating about Bad Bunny's astrology is that the moon in Scorpio yesterday was literally going over his Jupiter, and he's having this beautiful thing right now with Jupiter in Cancer making a trine to his sun into his Jupiter retrograde in Scorpio. So, for those of you that don't know, Bad Bunny is a Pisces. He's got Moon, Mars, Saturn, Sun all in Pisces, and he has the Sun trine Jupiter. So, he is a Jupiter guy. Um, Jupiter in Scorpio trines his natal Sun in Cancer. So he has Jupiter in Scorpio at 14 degrees, and then he has the Sun in Pisces at 19. So he has a Sun Jupiter trine, which is a very blessed thing for. It's really good for fame. It's really good for leadership. It's good for like if he wanted to be a politician, he would make a good politician as well. He could become a politician. But yeah, whenever we have the Sun or the Moon trine Jupiter, we really good for publicity, really good for being connected to people, really good for being well liked, well supported when in positions of leadership or authority or in positions of where you're seen by the public and stuff. So he has this, but the beautiful thing is that Jupiter in Cancer, who's retrograde, is making this grand trine with his sun and his natal Jupiter. And then the moon in Scorpio yesterday was also going over his Jupiter. So we really saw how you know, his Super I think his Super Bowl performance was the most watched ever. Definitely a Jupiter energy thing. But I also think what's so fascinating about the Super Bowl performance, but also kind of like the whole narrative and the whole story of, him going to the Super Bowl and it being a very political thing, and then everything with like Trump and ICE and all this, right? What's so fascinating is the energy of Saturn and how Saturn really showed up or has shown up during this entire narrative around Bad Bunny performing at the Super Bowl. Saturn is the planet of rejection, and Saturn has a lot to do with karmic burdens and karmic struggles. But Saturn, one of the things he's also about, especially in Pisces, he's about giving a voice to those that are unseen. Tell me how that. Can you guys hear me still? I have I have Do Not Disturb on. How did that phone call go through? That makes no sense. Can you guys still hear me? Are we still here? Let me see me. Okay, cool. So what's so fascinating about I have Do Not Disturb on? Like, what? What's so fascinating about him and him at the tail end of his Saturn return is Saturn, right? Especially in the sign of Pisces, wants to give a voice and give representation to those that are disenfranchised, those that are unheard, unseen, forgotten, right? So when we're thinking about Pisces people, we're thinking about people that don't have a voice, immigrants, those in the prison population, the homeless, sometimes elderly, the children, right? Like these populations of people, they tend to lack power or authority in their life. They tend to lose their voice in some type of way. So what was so interesting was to see the amount of representation that he was giving to these people that have been disenfranchised, but also the amount of hate and negativity that he has endured because of this Super Bowl performance. But all it's done, it's made him more popular and it's made him more famous. That's all it's done. But Saturn is the planet of rejection. Saturn is the planet of hatred and negativity. So when we say, "Oh, I hate this. Oh, I hate that," like we have this energetic, we just resent something. We're pushing it away. That's Saturn. Hatred is a Saturn thing, okay? And so it's so fascinating to see how a big part of his narrative and story, and that's also been a closing out of his Saturn return, has been about the amount of hatred and negativity that he's gotten for his Super Bowl performance from people that are right that don't know him. It's a huge misunderstanding. It's a huge, like, it's a lack of cultural awareness. It's a lack of empathy. It's a lack of understanding. And so what's so beautiful about Pisces and Aquarius, because he does have Mercury in Aquarius, I actually do think, I don't know, I just have this strong feeling in my heart that he's an Aquarius rising. I just really feel this. But he does have Mercury in Aquarius, so Benito does have some Aquarius energy. But the beautiful thing about this energy of Aquarius and Pisces and the combination of these signs is it makes people extremely humanitarian. And these are the signs that bridge communities together, that bring different cultures, different ethnicities, different people together. And it's about, these are the signs that are connected to, we're all humans. We're all one. Pisces and Aquarius, right? These are both of these signs have this in common. And so seeing him as this kind of like figurehead of like community inclusion and like, you know, bringing people together across identities. It's like such a beautiful thing because he's being used as a symbol. And this is one of the things that Jupiter and Saturn do. Jupiter and Saturn love to use people as symbols, right? Whether it be Floyd, George Floyd, whether it be who's another person? Luigi Mangione, right? Whether it be Benito, right? We always see this where Saturn and Jupiter, they use these people as symbols, as like these they're like messengers, right? And they're here to deliver these collective messages around equality, around fairness, around inclusion, around justice, right? Whatever it may be. And we need to really pay attention to Benito and how he's been used by Jupiter and Saturn. It's so interesting because I think because he's a Jupiterian guy, he's a Pisces, he's ruled by Jupiter. He's got a whole Pisces stellium, right? He's being used by Jupiter, but also he's been going through a Saturn return. He has Saturn in Pisces, right? So he's also a Saturn person. He's being used by both of these planets as a messenger, as a symbol, right? Of inclusion, of equality, of love, of compassion, of tolerance, things like this. Yeah, he has Mercury in Aquarius. Yeah, he has Mercury in Aquarius. Another fascinating thing, another thing that I really like about his chart, which is something I've talked about before about Bad Bunny's chart, something I've talked about before, I think. Um, this guy's a fighter and he's aggressive. Okay. And we've seen, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if you guys ever seen, he can have a hot head sometimes. He can have a little bit of a temper. He can have a little bit of a hot head. He could be very aggressive, and he will not back down from like a fight. Like this man's very courageous. Like if even with all this stuff about the Super Bowl, right? With all the politics surrounding it, he didn't back. No, he's doubling down. He's like, I'm gonna do this. I'm doing this because you guys don't want me to do it, right? And the reason being is because he has a planetary combination and a placement that enable this. He has Saturn and Mars together. So whenever you see someone have Saturn and Mars together, they have Mars, the passion and the aggression of Mars is being tempered and matured and channeled, and it's being disciplined by Saturn. And then also the fortitude, okay, and the strength and the power of Saturn is being reinforced by Mars. So when you see someone have a Saturn Mars conjunction, that's a very powerful conjunction to have. It's like having Mars in Capricorn when you have a Saturn Mars conjunction. He has Saturn Mars conjunct in Pisces. Okay. So this man, he's like a warrior. He's going to fight. Saturn and Mars is very, when that conjunction, people, they make their passions and their dreams, Mars, a reality. Saturn. They have a really strong work ethic and they have an energy that can go for days. They're very resilient and they will not back down from a fight when people have Saturn Mars together in a conjunction. Okay. The other placement that he has that makes him very feisty and very kind of like a warrior energy and kind of aggressive, he has Venus in Aries. So even though he's a Pisces stellium, right? He has some of this grit and some of this fortitude from his Venus placement. Venus in Aries is a very, very aggressive placement for Venus. When people have Aries placements in general, but it's funny because he has a 2 degree Venus, which Saturn and Neptune are going to be going on. So I'm really interested to see. I don't know if he's dating anybody right now, but I do think Saturn going into Aries, going over his Venus, I think we're going to see Bad Bunny get into a serious relationship in the next couple years, or he's going to get engaged or something. Let's see, Bad Bunny relationship. Who's he with right now? Is he with anybody right now? Oh, he broke up with Kendall. Okay, as of February, Bad Bunny appears to be single, following his high-profile split from Kendall Jenner. Yeah, he's looking for a wife. Bad Bunny's gonna be looking for a wifey next year, or I'm sorry, this year with Neptune and Saturn going into Aries, go over his Venus. But the placement of his Venus in Aries makes him very, very like a pioneer, a visionary. It makes him aggressive. He's not afraid to like be a warrior. I always think when men have Venus and Aries, when it comes to the way that they experience relationships, I mean, it could be a little detrimental, but they're very passionate around their art and around their self-expression, and they're willing to fight for it, right? They're not afraid to back down. It's a really, really, it's a good place. It's a good placement for an individual to have Venus and Aries, but it can create a lot of struggles and a lot of issues when it comes to relationships and partnerships because Venus is in detriment in Aries, right? She's in a hot, fiery sign. So, you know, very passionate placement for Venus, very expressive placement for Venus, very creative placement for Venus, but kind of detrimental when it comes to relationships and love. Okay. My daughter is like this, not conjunct, but both in Scorpio and the 10th. She will fight, and even when she learns she's wrong, she's still fighting. Yeah, she has Saturn and Mars in the same sign. It's pretty much like having a conjunction when you have Saturn and Mars in the same sign, right? Mars is also really good in Scorpio. So, yeah, that combination of Saturn and Mars together in his chart um it's interesting because even though he's done cross-dressing before and he has like this feminine energy to him, he's got a masculine energy. Bad Bunny has a he at the end of the day he comes across with this masculinity that's very firm, and it's because he has that Saturn Mars conjunction in Pisces. He's not a soft he's not a soft Pisces the way that we think. Yeah, he does cry. He does dream. Obviously, we saw him cry when he got his Grammy. Oh, we saw him shed some tears, right? That's definitely a Pisces thing. He does have that Pisces moon, but because he has that Saturn Mars in Pisces, and he also has Jupiter and Scorpio trining his Sun in Pisces, he's kind of scorpionic. He's a Martian. He's got grit. He's not like this like soft, I'm pretty sure he does have these moments where he's very soft and tender, but he's kind of rough around the edges. Saturn Mars together in Pisces. Sun in Pisces trine Jupiter in Scorpio. Venus in Aries, right? Like, but it's really cool to see the way his chart is activated right now. Jupiter exalted in Cancer, who's also Jupiter retrograde in Cancer, but also in an exalted state, forming a grand trine with Bad Bunny's Sun and his natal Jupiter is awesome. Our Jupiter trine, when we tend to go through our Jupiter trine, um, we tend to experience like a lot of expansion and growth and like beautiful good things come into our life. So you always want to pay attention to when Jupiter is going through a sign that trines your own natal Jupiter. For instance, what do I mean? You have natal Jupiter in Aries. So when Jupiter is going through Sag or Leo, you're going through a Jupiter trine. If you hear, oh, Jupiter's going into Leo, Jupiter's going into Sag, and you have natal Jupiter in Aries, you best believe that's going to be a good year. You need to prepare for a year of expansion and growth. It takes Jupiter about a year to go through a sign, right? So he's going through a Jupiter trine right now, which is really wonderful. Our Jupiter trine periods tend to be magical, easy, graceful. They tend to bring a lot of luck, growth, and expansion and opportunity. But we got to lean in. We got to many times when we're going through a good Jupiter transit, the opportunity presents itself, but we don't take the risk or we don't take the leap of faith, which is what Jupiter wants us to do, right? A big lesson with Jupiter is that when the window opens or when the door opens, you jump. Many people, they have these moments in their life where Jupiter comes to give them a carrot, comes to give them a gift or a blessing, or it gives them a moment of magic, like opportunity where something beautiful could happen. It's like a once in a lifetime thing, and they don't jump. They don't listen. They're not paying attention. They don't jump through the window. They don't jump through the door, right? When it opens for that moment in time, when the magical door opens. And one of the biggest lessons with a Jupiter transit or when we're experiencing a positive Jupiter transit, right? Even Jupiter trine is when that opportunity presents itself, you got to jump. You got to take the leap of faith. You got to take the risk. You got to take the chance because you don't want to miss out. Exactly. Yeah. Jupiter trine happens when it's in the same element. Yeah. When it's in the same element as your own Jupiter. So if you have Jupiter in a fire sign, when Jupiter goes into a fire sign, that's your own Jupiter trine, right? Um, and this is a very expansive one for him because it's the waxing Jupiter trine, I believe. Oh, let me see. Or is it the closing one? Let me see. Maybe it's the closing one. Oh, yeah. It's the closing Jupiter trine. Yeah. It's the closing Jupiter trine for him. So, yeah. One, two, three, four, five. One, two, three, four, five. Yeah, it's the closing Jupiter trine for him because he's going to be going through his Jupiter return 4 years from now when he's like 35, 36. So, yeah. All right, my loves, I wanted to just share some Bad Bunny. A lot of people were DMing me asking me about Bad Bunny stuff, so I just wanted to share some of my insights with that. Okay, let's talk about the astrology of the week. So, what do we got going on this week? Let me take a look. Well, we're so today the moon's in Scorpio. What do we got going on? Okay, Venus goes into Pisces this from today to tomorrow. Let's see, is it happening today? Does Venus go into Pisces today? So it's February 10th. Oh wait, no, hold on. Oh yeah, Tuesday, tomorrow. So Venus will be going into Pisces on Tuesday, February 10th. Venus moves into Pisces. What else we got going on here? Uranus went direct last week. We have a Sun Mars conjunction coming up. We have Mercury going over the North Node on Wednesday in Pisces. So a lot of karmic things this week. We're gonna start to experience. Okay, we're moving into eclipse season. So what we have the planets approaching the nodes. So I'm looking at Friday, February 13th. I'm looking at Mercury with the North. Mercury's at 11. The North Node's at 9. Venus is at 4. Venus is kind of like approaching the North Node. We're going to be beautiful. Venus and Pisces. Yes. Let me see what someone asked. If you are a Cancer, where Jupiter is at in the moment, is it a trying to? No, it's a conjunction. So if you're a Cancer placement, then you have Jupiter going through your sign. That's a conjunction. When things are in the same sign, we call it a conjunction. Okay. So yeah, we're approaching eclipse season. So we have all these planets. They're going to be going through the nodes. And then I do believe we have our first eclipse, which is a solar eclipse in Aquarius on February 17th, which is going to be next week on a Tuesday. So, yeah, right here. I'm looking at it. 28 degrees, I believe. 28-degree solar eclipse in Aquarius. It's going to be with Venus conjunct the North Node in Pisces. Actually, we're not going to be having a Sun Mars conjunction. My bad. The sun moved past Mars already. Mars is slow, and the sun moves faster than Mars, so that's not going to be happening. But what we will be having is a Mars square Uranus, which is not going to be until going into Pisces season. But we're going to have this solar eclipse, new moon in Aquarius square Uranus. So I'll talk about that when we get there. But I do think that, the astrology of this week is building up towards the solar eclipse. And we're closing out our full moon in Leo cycle this week as we build up towards our solar eclipse. So this week, as the sun is wrapping up in the sign of Aquarius, well, not wrapping up the sign of Aquarius, we still have 2 more weeks left of Aquarius season, I believe. Yeah, we still have 2 more weeks of Aquarius season. 2.5 weeks roughly. One of the things you're gonna notice is kind of like certain timelines starting or beginning and us slowly transitioning into like a new energetic timeline as the eclipse energy shifts from Pisces to Aquarius, okay? And this is going to be our opening eclipse. This eclipse that's coming up in a few weeks. It's going to be our opening solar eclipse in Aquarius that's going to be kicking off the eclipse cycle between Aquarius and Leo. I don't think we had an eclipse last year in. Did we have an eclipse in Leo last year? I don't think so. Did we? Anybody know? Can't remember. It would have been a. It would have been a lunar eclipse in Aquarius. Oh, in 2025. Hold on. It was, yeah, we did. We had a total lunar eclipse on September 7th. Yes, it was in Aquarius. Oh wait, was that? Oh wait, no, 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 no. I don't think it was. I don't think it was in Aquarius. I have to go back. It'd be easier for me to just go look at the astrology. Oh, it's in Pisces. Yeah, it was Virgo Pisces. Yeah, yeah, it was Virgo Pisces. Yeah. I wasn't sure if we had started our Leo Aquarius eclipses last year. No, we haven't. So we're starting that eclipse cycle. Yeah, it was Pisces Virgo. Yeah, it was Pisces Virgo. It was Pisces Virgo. Yeah. So what's important is like I want you guys to take a look at your Aquarius Leo houses, and I want you to take notice of those houses and what's going on with them right now because these houses are about to become highly active in this full moon in Leo cycle that we're going through right now. The full moon in Leo that we had about a week ago. We have one more week left of the full moon in Leo is showing you the future a little bit. Okay. So this full moon in Leo 2 week cycle, this full moon that we just had, is showing you, wants to show you, is trying to give you some insight into the future, into what Jupiter in Leo is going to do in your life, and what the nodes and the eclipses going through Aquarius and Leo is going to do in your life as well. Is what's going to pivot or what's going to change or how it's going to activate that part of your chart. So, very important that you take notice of like any kind of serendipitous, interesting, curious things that you've experienced since the full moon in Leo that we had a week ago, and for the rest of this full moon in Leo cycle for the next week, because the Aquarius Leo axis is about to get very active in your life, especially later this year. Once the nodes go into Leo and Aquarius, and also once Jupiter goes into Leo, which is going to be around August, September. Okay. So pay attention. This full moon and Leo cycle that we're going through right now is giving us some insight into the future. Okay. Okay, hold on. Let me go back to the astrology. Okay, cool. So, all right, let's talk about the astrology of the week. So, the no Mercury coming in conjunction with the North Node. Okay, and then we're gonna have Venus conjunct the North Node for the solar eclipse in Aquarius, which is next Tuesday. So Mercury coming into conjunction with the North Node. The North Node is about destiny. The North Node is about energy coming in or beginning new things or starting new things or being called or pushed toward new things. So I do believe with Mercury in the North Node, I think people are going to be beginning a lot of things this week. New habits, new routines, new jobs, new ways of thinking. Also, right as Mercury and the North Node are coming into conjunction, Venus is now in Pisces as well, right? So Venus goes into Pisces tomorrow on Tuesday, but I'm looking at the North Node and Mercury conjoining on Thursday, and Venus is already at 2 degrees Pisces. So a lot of stuff around communication, and the big message I'm getting with Mercury and Pisces, especially with Venus, is a lot of conversations around forgiveness, around empathy, around compassion, around apologizing. The North Node Mercury is gonna feel it's gonna make us feel called to address certain issues and have certain conversations with people to get clarity around things. Mercury is in fall in Pisces though. So the thing that we got to keep in mind with Mercury in Pisces is like our memory may be a little wishy-washy, we could be a little bit more delulu. Um we can also have our the mind is in a more emotional, spiritual, delusional place when Mercury's in Pisces, right? And so we can have some difficulties with communicating our thoughts or our ideas or expressing ourselves or even there can be miscommunications, misunderstandings where someone thought you said something or they thought you meant something by what you said, but you didn't mean it. So we just want to make sure that we are getting clarity around communication and conversation now that Mercury's in Pisces, and that if we want to talk about something that's very serious or very, very intense, that we like slow it down, that we don't do any of the projection, the Mercury and Pisces projection thing, where we are projecting, our own ideas, our own thoughts, our own emotions onto someone instead of really listening and being present with them and, engaging in conversation in like a healthy, clear way. Okay. Someone said, "Is it a dream or did this happen for real?" That's very much a Mercury and Pisces statement. Yeah, like, did this really happen? It's funny because me and my mom, welcome, mom and mom's here. Everyone say hi to my mom. My very political mother. My mom's become more political than me. She's the one with the circle and no ice. Everybody say hi to my mom. She's just joined the chat. She just joined the live. But my mom has Libra placements. I'm like, why is my mom so political? Oh, she has Mercury in Libra. That's why. I was thinking about it. But anyways, me and my mom were having a conversation about dreams yesterday. We were talking about our dreams, and I was telling her about some dreams that I had had. I've been having some really interesting dreams now that Mercury's in Pisces. Because Pisces is the sign of dreams. Pisces is the sign of sleep. Pisces is also the sign of silence, and you'll see this when people have Pisces placements, especially when their Mercury's in Pisces, they'll be a person of very little words. They won't speak that much, or they'll only say what they mean, okay? Or they'll have a very small, tiny little voice. That's another thing I've noticed with sometimes when people have Mercury in Pisces, they have like a really small, sweet, soft little voice. I don't have Mercury in Pisces, clearly. I have Mercury and Scorpio conjunct the sun. So clearly there's no smallness in his voice over here, okay? But yeah, the North Node in Mercury, karmic, fated, destined things begin to occur when the North Node and the South Node are involved with the planets. And the nodes, they also kind of bend time and they speed things up, especially the North Node. The North Node speeds things up and it intensifies things and it kind of bends time, it bends reality. So if you notice that with the North Node Mercury conjunct, you have more obsessive thoughts. You feel like time is moving faster. You feel more mentally restless. You can't sleep, things like this. If you're especially feeling this like this week, um, tomorrow, or actually Thursday specifically, when Mercury and the North Node are conjoined, that's probably because it's the North Node Mercury aspecting you or hitting you in some type of way. Um, this energy, Mercury can also be very active for mutable signs specifically. So if you're a mutable rising or if you have your sun and your moon in a mutable sign, Pisces, Sagittarius, Virgo, or Gemini. This Mercury and Pisces transit can be very activating for you. Okay, it can be very mentally stimulating. You may feel inspired to change your habits, to, change your routines, to pick up a hobby, get into arts and crafts, something like this. With the North Node Mercury conjunct, okay, it's usually picking up a new hobby or a new habit. A lot of times when the North Node and Mercury are coming into conjunction, we feel like we want to do something new. Okay, want to bring something new into our daily life or into a new routine or something. But this could look like a lot of different things. Mercury's also the planet of pets, and so with North Node Mercury, this can literally be some people are getting new pets this week. And stuff like this. The other beautiful thing that I love, though, about well, I don't really know if I love North Node Mercury and Pisces together, but I'm just gonna say that I love it because why not? But the other beautiful thing that I love about the astrology of this week is Venus going into Pisces and Venus being in Pisces for the next 3 weeks. So Venus, the planet of love and affection and relationships and justice and equality and all these beautiful things and the kidneys and pleasure and desire, right? Desire is a Mars thing, but pleasure is a Venus thing. So Venus is the planet of pleasure. Like, what feels good, what tastes good, what looks good, what smells good. That's Venus. And with Venus exalted in Pisces, there's definitely going to be this there's going to be this like romantic energy in the air. And it's so funny because I think Venus in Pisces is so appropriate for Valentine's Day, you know? Valentine's Day is what, February 14th? Yeah, yeah. Valentine's Day, February 14th. So I think Venus and Pisces is wonderful for Valentine's Day. Um, because Venus, she's exalted in the sign of Pisces. So Venus does really well in the sign of Pisces, the sign that she loves being in. And we love people that have Venus and Pisces. Let me tell you one thing about Venus and Pisces. When people have that placement, they look good on camera, they look good on television, they make good models, they look good behind film. They also tend to look like mermaids, or they tend to have this beauty that is very kind of effervescent. It's very magical. They have an aura to them that it seems like they're not even human, that they're like, a mystical, magical creature, a very unicorn mermaid energy, when people have Venus and Pisces, especially when women have Venus and Pisces. I've noticed when, certain women that have Venus and Pisces, they just have this energy and they have this look that is very sweet and very soft and very kind. But Venus and Pisces is also about the victimized woman. It's also about the woman that kind of like loses her freedom and loses her autonomy. And it has also a lot to do with kind of like love without boundaries or unconditional love and love that we just share with many people. So I've noticed this, especially when a man has Venus in Pisces, is he tends to be a little bit of a, I love her and I love her too. He's a lover of many. Is a Venus and Pisces thing. My friend has Venus in Pisces. She has big, beautiful blue eyes, and she's so sweet. Aw. But yeah, there's something very magical and very sweet and very sensual about, Venus and Pisces when people have that placement. But the energy, collective energy of Venus and Pisces is going to be really good for love and partnerships. And there's a few reasons why. I do think that we are going to be seeing new relationships and new partnerships, like people falling in love, people meeting a partner with the North Node Venus together, conjunct in or in co-present in the sign of Pisces, especially Earth signs and water signs. I really do think Earth signs and water signs are going to be getting a lot of good benefit from this Venus and Pisces transit. Um, but it's not just Venus and the North Node together, right, in Pisces. It's also Venus in a trine with Jupiter. This is why I do think this energy of like ceremony and celebration, like engagement, marriages, wedding planning, things like this energy is gonna be in the air very strongly over the next 3 weeks, especially next week though, when Venus is going through the middle degrees of Pisces and trining Jupiter. Um, this transit is really good for fixing relationship issues and problems. This transit is really good for any kind of forgiveness or healing that needs to be done in the realm of love and romance. So if are trying to get someone to forgive you, if you're trying to make amends, if you're trying to find peace and harmony with someone, if you're trying to heal a relationship, in any kind of relationship, it doesn't just have to be romance. This could be with family members, friends, whatever. Um, really reach for that or really kind of put energy into doing that starting tomorrow when Venus goes into Pisces. Um, but I would say wait until next week when Venus is in the middle degrees of Pisces trining Jupiter, because by then you'll more than likely get like, they'll be willing to talk, they'll be willing to forgive, they'll be willing to kind of like reconvene and figure things out and work through things. Really good transit for working through any kind of like love relationship issues or problems, okay? But you have to come genuine though. It has to be genuine. It has to be authentic. It has to come from a place of deep feeling. People know when they're getting played. People know when you're not being authentic or real, or when you don't really feel it, when you're just saying it, you're just doing it or performing it, right? It's one thing to say it and do it and perform it, right? But when you really feel it, when there's tears behind there, when there's emotion and sentiment and compassion and caring behind it, behind the words, people feel that. They know that. You know, we have this intuitive sense for knowing when people are about that life, when they're being true and real. And we can feel into those things, you know? So if you're not if it's not coming from a place that's like genuine or that's full of like affection and tenderness and like compassion and understanding, then don't even don't give it an ear, all right? But also, if you're if that's you, you want to get to a place of true deep love and understanding and genuine, like, I think it's okay for us to feel guilty and feel bad sometimes for things that we do, because that's where compassion is, that's where love is, right? If you mess up and you drop the ball in a relationship or whatever with somebody, right, and you don't feel bad or you don't feel guilty about it, good luck healing it. Good luck finding, reconciliation. Good luck getting them to forgive you, because that shows that you don't understand what you did wrong. That shows that you don't have that empathy and that understanding and that compassion, right? And vice versa. It's the same thing when other people, like when other people wrong us, other people do something against us, they hurt our feelings, right? And if they're not really, if they don't feel bad or guilty about it, that means they don't care. They don't have that compassion. They really haven't searched their heart, or they really haven't connected with us to understand, why are you hurting? What did I do to hurt you? Because I love you, because I care for you, because I have compassion for you. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to see you like that ever again. I would never do that to you ever again, right? So it's actually it's healthy and it's good to feel bad and feel guilty sometimes for things that we do to others. Because that tells us that we do have love and compassion for that person, that we do care for that person, right? So when people don't have that empathy, they don't have that compassion, they don't have that understanding, that means they don't have that love for us, right? That means they haven't really felt into it, you know? And so that's why sometimes, like, it's okay to shame people sometimes, okay? I'm just gonna say it. Like, it's okay to make people feel bad or feel guilty for for the things that they've done, right? Because that's where compassion and understanding can grow, right? Right. Okay, so I think Venus in Pisces is going to be a very healing transit if we allow it to be, right? If we allow it to be. One of the things that we do want to be cautious of, though, is the low vibrational, shadowy aspects of Pisces energy. Now that, we're going to be going to Pisces season, we have Venus and Mercury going into Pisces, or Mercury's already in Pisces, but we have Venus going to Pisces there this week. We want to be mindful of victimhood, escapism, avoidance, self deception, being lost in delusion, lying to ourselves, scams, being taken advantage of, right? A lack of boundaries within, in our connections and our relationships, you know, trying to help and save someone that, can't be helped or can't be saved, trying to prove your worth to someone. Oh my, love me, please. Look at how worthy I am. Look at how valuable I am. Love me. Like, we're not begging, we're not doing none of that, okay? None of that low vibrational Pisces Virgo axis behavior, okay? No codependent relationship stuff, no begging for love, no sacrificing oneself for love, none of that. None of the martyrdom for love thing, Maybe they'll love me if I. No, stay away from that. That's all low vibe, Mercury, Venus, and Pisces stuff. Stay away from that behavior, okay? We don't want to do none of that with Venus and Pisces, all right? Okay. All right, so we're at 11 o'clock. Okay, let's go. So let's go over the astrology of the week. We're gonna follow the moon. We're gonna talk about the moon transits and any other like conjunctions or anything like that that kind of comes through. Oh, wait a minute. Before I go, before we dive into that, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Saturn goes into Aries on, I don't know why I thought it was next week, but it's this week. Saturn goes into Aries this week. Finally, thank you, Jesus. Oh, Lordy. Saturn goes into Aries, and we're gonna have a Saturn Neptune conjunction on February 14th, which I do believe is Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's, happy Valentine's. Saturn Neptune conjunction in Aries, where delusion meets reality. Delusion, Neptune meets reality, Saturn. I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be a lot of wake up calls, a lot of reality checks. Saturn moving into a new sign. He's coming in to check some of y'all, okay? And those are the people that are going to be getting the people that are going to be getting checked are the cardinal signs. Aries, Capricorn, Cancer, and Libra, baby. It's time for you to grow up. It's time for you to mature. It's time for you to be more serious, to be more responsible. It's time for you to get your shit together, okay? Stop wasting time. Saturn does not like when we waste time. Saturn wants us to be very, very aware of our time and what we're doing with it, okay? So no longer, no more being a mess, no more being lost in the sauce, no more, okay? Daddy Saturn's looking at you, all right? Daddy Saturn's looking at you. For those of you with Saturn in a cardinal sign, you have Saturn in Aries, Libra, Capricorn, or Cancer. You are going to be going through a Saturn transit. I love this for you. If you've been putting in the work, putting in the time, putting in the energy, being disciplined, being self-controlled, working on your goals and your dreams, Saturn transit could be a beautiful moment of achievement for you. Just like with what's his name? With I keep wanting to with Bad Bunny. I don't know why I want to call him Benny Blanco, but that's another Benny. Okay, with Bad Bunny, right? The end of his Saturn return right now, right? Like literally this week is the end of his Saturn return. A huge moment of culmination and completion for him. A huge moment of success, right? So he had a wonderful Saturn return, but he worked hard. You also got to think. Bad Bunny has been working very hard the last few years, right? He did that residency in Puerto Rico. Like the man's been doing a lot. He's been busy. Saturn's been putting him to work. And that's one of the things when you are going through a Saturn transit, Saturn return, you're going through a Saturn square, you're going through a Saturn opposite. Dang, the sun was like, hey, okay, I see you, sun. Did you guys see the sun just like came out right now? Um, when you're going through a Saturn transit, Saturn is like, all right, it's time to get to work. It's time to be more disciplined. It's time to be self-controlled. It's time to clean up your act, right? So, Saturn really loves it when we um, take vows, when we make commitments to ourselves, and when we honor those commitments, and also when we like try to achieve something or accomplish something where we test ourselves in some type of way. So when we do something hard, Saturn loves that. So like let's say, you've always been afraid of college or going to school, and you've had a lot of doubt or insecurity around education and schooling. But now you're feeling Saturn telling you, okay, if you want that success, you want that achievement, you got to go get that degree. You got to go to school, right? Saturn will reward you greatly if you challenge yourself, you enroll in school, you do it, you get that degree, you see it to the end. That's another thing that Saturn loves. Saturn loves when you finish things that you start. So for some people, this could be you abandoned something, you stopped something 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and you're going to go back to finish what you started. This could be a schooling thing too. There's a lot of people that do this. They go to school, they're in there for 3 years, they drop out their last year, they don't finish. Saturn does not like it when you don't finish what you start. Go back and finish. You're going through a Saturn transit. Let's say you were going to school in your 20s. You're in your 40s now. You have Saturn in Libra. You have Saturn in what? Cancer. Okay. Go back to school during your Saturn transit. Finish what you started. You why? Saturn will gift you greatly. Saturn will reward you greatly. Like Kayla said, just went back to school after not finishing. Yeah, Saturn compels us. So what's so interesting is like if we abandon something or didn't finish something that Saturn wants us to finish, he'll call us back to it. He'll bring you back there, and he'll be like, okay, this thing will come back into your life so you can finish what you start. Saturn loves that. So, but yeah, also another beautiful thing, another beautiful way to piece out. I'm giving you guys some Saturn hacks right now, okay, to make your Saturn return or your Saturn transit a lot easier. He loves it when you abstain from something and when you decide to let something go. So going sober during a Saturn transit, highly recommended. It'll alleviate a lot of Saturn's pressure. Um, letting go of any kind of bad habit or bad behavior, like abstaining from it, letting go, taking like a vow of celibacy or something, right? That right there, Saturn will reward you. He loves that stuff. He won't target you as much. He won't make your life as hard or as difficult. If you can make some kind of commitment to yourself, okay, and achieve something, or even commit to something where you're abstaining from something, where you're letting something go, okay? And it's got to be like an absolute no. You got to be willing to let it go fully. Saturn does not like when you go back and forth with things, when you're finicky, when you're like, oh, well, maybe on the weekends. No, he wants you to let it go absolutely. This is how Saturn works. When you do that, when you abstain from those things, you know what? He rewards you greatly. He makes your life easier, and he gives you gifts and things like this. So, just give you guys some insight, because Saturn may ask you, part of your Saturn return or your Saturn transit could be like, okay, it's time for me to let this thing go. It's time for me to abstain from this thing. It's time for me to say no to this thing, right? But yeah, all in all, Saturn transits, what does Saturn want you to do? What is he trying to do? What's he trying to help you accomplish? More autonomy, more personal responsibility, and more independence. If you're someone that is extremely codependent on others, if you're someone that you're not very personally responsible or personally accountable, Saturn will move things in your life and change things in your life to make it so that you have to rely on yourself and yourself only. And I will tell you this right now, Saturn, one of the things he loves to do, he loves to take away or challenge our foundation. He loves to challenge the things that we find comfortable, secure, and safe. And he'll usually take those things away from us, right? And let me explain. I'm just going to give you guys an example, okay? Let's say you've been staying with your grandma for years. Your grandma's been taking care of you. She's been supporting you, showing up for you, whatever. You had problems or issues with your parents, right? So you went to go live with grandma in your teens. You've been with her. Now you're 28, 29, right? But she's sick. She's getting older, right? Grandma's not looking too good. Let me tell you one thing that happens during Saturn returns. A lot of times, a grandparent will pass away during a Saturn return. You were relying on them, you were living with them, they were taking care of you, doing everything for you. Guess what? Now you don't have that person, you're on your own. You got to figure it out now. Welcome to your Saturn return. Welcome to your Saturn transit. That's how Saturn works, my loves. I'm just being honest with you. I do 3 readings a day, 2 to 3 readings a day. Okay, I do a lot of readings, and this is it's like, I don't want to say it's common, but it's a reoccurring theme. And when people are going through a Saturn return or having a Saturn transit, it's a recurring theme. Saturn on the sun, Saturn on the moon. Someone will pass away that they relied on or they depended upon, and now they have to like take care of themselves and be unto themselves. And Saturn's like, okay, now it's just you. What are you gonna do? So just to give you guys some insight into like, for those of you that are about to have your Saturn return, or you are going through a Saturn transit because you have natal Saturn in Capricorn, Libra, or Cancer. If you have Saturn in a water sign though, I'm sorry, if you have Saturn in a fire sign, let's say you have Saturn in Leo or Saturn in Sag, this Saturn transit, Saturn Aries, can actually be very supportive for you. Even if you have Saturn in Gemini or Saturn in Aquarius, this Saturn transit can be very supportive for you. It can help you towards achievement, towards refinement, towards accomplishment, towards clarifying those goals or getting closer to them in some type of way. Because you're going through a positive Saturn transit, Saturn sextile, Saturn or Saturn trine Saturn. Yeah, Saturn on the moon, that's the mother. Yeah. Your moon is the mother. Yeah. So if Saturn is transiting your moon sign, let's say you have a moon in Aries and Saturn's going into Aries, right? Well, guess what? You need to take a look at your mother's health. You need to take a look at grandmother's health. Take a look at what's going on with your home and your living situation. There could be a few things. Saturn transiting the moon could also be about a pregnancy or a birth, but it can also be about a miscarriage or an abortion. Because Saturn's a planet of rejection and the moon is the planet of procreation and babies. So a lot of times when Saturn's transiting the moon, especially in Aries, this can be about someone who gets pregnant early, Aries. They're young, Aries, and they're not ready for a baby. So guess what? They get rid of it. They let it go, right? Saturn transit the moon. Saturn's about rejection. Saturn's about no, about loss, right? And grief, and stuff like this. Does that make sense? If you have an Earth sign, it's not gonna. It's if you have an Earth Saturn, it's not really aspecting you, right? So only if you have Saturn and Capricorn is it squaring you, but if you have Saturn in Taurus or Virgo, it's not really aspecting you. It's in a quink. It's in an Saturn's in an inversion to you, so you're not really getting impacted by Saturn and Aries that much, unless you have other placements. But you could have other things, right? So you let's say you have a whole stellium in Cancer Capricorn. Let's say you're someone that was born with the Cancer Capricorn stellium, or you have everything. Well, Saturn Aries is going to be very pivotal for you because Saturn's going to be squaring all of your Cancer Capricorn stuff, right? So let's say you have a whole bunch of Cancer Capricorn, but you have natal Saturn in Taurus. Well, Saturn Aries is still going to be important for you, just in a different way, because it's squaring your Capricorn Cancer stellium, right? Or that everything you have in those signs. But it may not necessarily be about it's not in relation to your Saturn, right? It's not activating your Saturn anyway. It's activating other planets. That transit's activating other planets. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's talk about so Saturn Neptune conjunction this Saturday, Saturn going into Aries. A lot of endings and beginnings, my loves, that we're experiencing this week, especially this weekend, with Saturn going back into Aries and really beginning his 2 year his the rest of his 2 year transit. Well, he usually takes about 2 years and 9 months, 2 years and 8 months to go through a sign. So Saturn's going to be going through Aries from now until 2028. And yeah, we just want to take notice. I don't know, there can be declarations of war that we can see this weekend. There could be more fallouts, more protests. Saturn is a planet of reality and Neptune is a planet of fantasy. So we can see there's like also it's so interesting because I also think that like Saturn's planet of government. So a lot of things with conspiracy theories becoming validated, we had the releasing of all the Epstein, like more Epstein files, but we got a lot of like photography and we got a lot of emails and we got a lot of video footage like from the Epstein files recently. Um, but there's gonna be more that comes out. But it's interesting because I do think we're going to start to see the disillusion of governments more due to conspiracy theories and due to like weird connections, between like politicians and celebrities and international It's just like really weird, funky stuff right now. Nothing is very clear though. Saturn and Neptune brings a lack of clarity though. Saturn wants to make things clear, and Neptune kind of makes things foggy or makes things unclear. So, Saturn and Neptune and Aries, they're kind of like creating this collective kind of like confusion or fog around government, around with conspiracy theories, around villains, like who's actually the villain. Anybody watch Fallout? Anybody watch Fallout on Amazon? If you guys have not seen that show, it's on Amazon. It is okay, number one, it is one of my favorite shows of the year for sure, or of like of like 2025, 2026. It is so good. But there's kind of like a narrative in the show of who's the enemy, like who's actually the bad guy, and is the bad guy the good guy, right? And like this kind of like confusion around who the enemy is, who's the villain. That's a very Saturn and Neptune and Aries thing. And so I think, you know, there's villains showing up right now, but there can be a lot of confusion around who's the man behind the mask and who's the man behind the man behind the man behind the man behind the man. Like, it's like there's a lot of that. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of that with Saturn and Neptune conjunct in the sign of Aries. Okay. Um, but yeah, if you are someone that has Aries placements, this is very pivotal, very important for you. You might feel a shift in energy, but I'm just really getting that there's the big message that I'm getting with Saturn Neptune conjunct in Aries starting this Saturday is like this beginning of new timelines for people and like certain chapters like really coming to a close and people kind of like initiating or pioneering or doing something very like rebellious or that goes against the grain in some type of way. Okay, and really, following our passions, following our desires. It's a very Saturn, Neptune, and Aries thing. We're going to talk more about this with this transit because this is going to be kind of like an ongoing transit. This Saturn, Neptune energy is going to be in the air next week as well. It's going to be in the air for a while. So, yes. Okay. All right. Let's talk about the astrology of the week, though. Let's go. Let's kind of break down the planets week by week or day by day. So the moon's in Scorpio today. The moon is wrapping up in the sign of Scorpio. Where is it at like right now at this very moment? Let me see. Yeah, 24 degrees, opposite Uranus. So we have moon square the sun today. We have moon opposing Uranus tonight before the moon goes into Sag tomorrow. So the moon in Scorpio has been stirring up the drama the last few days. The moon in Scorpio is also the waning square from our full moon in Leo that we had a week ago. So Leo and Scorpio, they square each other. So this moon in Scorpio transit over the last few days, including today, is kind of showing us where we need to transform and change and where we need to shed shit. So the moon in Scorpio for the last few days, let me see. The moon went into Scorpio on Saturday, yeah, on Saturday evening. So from Saturday evening to yesterday to today, the moon in Scorpio has been trying to show us because it's been trying to show us things from our full moon in Leo. It's been trying to show us where we need within ourselves to evolve, where we need to transform and change, and where there's certain aspects of our identity, of who we are, of our ego that are outdated that we no longer need, that we need to like leave behind and like take with us, or like leave behind and not take with us. So, that like really skeptical identity of yours where you're very skeptical and you're very mistrusting of people and you're always questioning this and you're questioning that and you never trust anything, right? Maybe it's time to leave behind that inner skeptic, okay? Maybe it's time to leave behind that inner pessimist. Oh, things never work out for me. Oh, life does, God doesn't love me. Things are always all bad things always happen to me. You know what I mean? Oh, it's not going to turn out that way. It's like, leave that behind. Let that pessimistic identity that you've attached yourself to, baby, that's not doing nothing for you, leave it behind and let it go. Okay. That victim mentality, always being a victim. Okay. Let it go. It's time to leave behind these identity characteristics. It's time to let these go. And the moon is Scorpio, right? Transit over the last few days, finishing up today, is trying to show us from the full moon in Leo, trying to show us things from the full moon in Leo. How do we need to evolve as a Scorpio moon? I don't trust. I know I don't trust it. I'm working on my trust issues as a Scorpio. I have Sun, Mercury, Pluto, and Venus. I have Sun, Mercury, Pluto all conjunct in Scorpio, but then I have Venus in Scorpio. I don't trust nobody. I don't trust nothing or nobody. I'm working on it though. I'm learning to be more trusting. I'm learning that not everyone has bad motives and bad intentions. Okay. I'm learning that. Um, not everyone has a motive. Sometimes, you know what I've had to learn as a Scorpio? Sometimes people just do things because they just do them. Like, not everything is as deep. Like, before I take an act, like, okay, this is the way I am because I'm a Scorpio stellium. Before I do anything, I always think deeply about the action. Why am I doing this? Is this going to impact anybody? Is this going to hurt anybody? Like I'm very deep in that way in general. But before I do anything, I always ask myself a why, and I always take stock of how this is going to impact others. Okay. Not everybody does that. Not everybody lives like this. There are a lot of people that just be doing shit and they don't second guess, they don't question themselves, they don't ask themselves why. They're not curious around their motives, around their behaviors or their actions. People just be doing shit to do shit sometimes. And I've had to realize as a Scorpio that not everything is as deep as me. Not everybody thinks or feels as deeply as me. Therefore, not everybody's actions or behaviors have motive or have depth to them. Sometimes people just be doing shit to do shit and they don't even know why they're doing shit? So I think it's like, and that has honestly, that's like giving me a lot more space to just like love and accept people and like trust people and just like, yeah, because not everybody has an intention, not everybody has a motive. That's just the way it is. And that's definitely the truth. Just because you're someone that has maybe motives or intentions or whatever. You think deeply about things, right? Or you're very suspicious. I'm very suspicious of people sometimes. Not everybody's like that. Okay, not everybody lives that way. So don't project that on others, and don't project that on the world around you. But anyways, I digress. So let's get back to the moon in Scorpio. So the moon in Scorpio transit has been trying to show us where we need to evolve and transform and change. The moon in Scorpio transit is also responding to Mars in Aquarius. So with the moon in Scorpio and Mars in Aquarius, this could also be about how we need to individuate ourselves from our community, from our collective, from our friend groups, from our family, right? How are you an individual and who are you outside of these communities or outside of these social groups that you operate, right? Because you're more than just Louis the family member. You're more than just Louis the astrologer. You're more than just Louis the friend. You're more than these things. But who are you outside of those things? And that's what this full moon in Leo cycle has been trying to show us. And that's what this moon in Scorpio transit over the last few days has possibly been trying to trigger, expose, or reveal, right? So the moon in Scorpio, with Mars in Aquarius, has probably been kind of triggering some things over the last few days. Maybe there's been some emotions that have been triggered over the last few days. Maybe some resentment has come up. Maybe some jealousy has come up. Maybe some guilt. Maybe there's been some longing, some nostalgia, some grief that's come up. Whatever emotional bullshit that's come up, it like spirit wants you to take a look at that stuff because there's something there that needs transmutation. There's something there that needs to evolve or heal or be purged so that you can kind of move on to the next chapter of you. Okay. But the moon in Scorpio, I was feeling agitated yesterday and I was wondering why. It's because the moon was squaring Mars. I was so pissy yesterday. I was like, what is this attitude? Like, where is this agitation coming from? I was just like angry. I don't even know what to be angry at or what. I don't even know what I was angry about. I was just like mad. And the moon was squaring Mars yesterday. That's why. So the moon actually squares Venus. So by tonight, as the moon wraps up in Scorpio, it's going to square Venus and it's also going to oppose Uranus. And we actually have Venus and Uranus in a square. So if you're feeling like rebellious, if you're feeling like you want to make a change, if you're feeling a little irritable, agitated, if you're feeling a little restless, okay, the moon, it's because Venus is separating from a square with Uranus, and the moon is also approaching an opposition with Uranus. Uranus is really that energy of doing something radical, doing something different, right? Someone said I thought it was because I had to clean. That's funny. But yeah, Uranus energy is kind of active. Oh, hold on. Let me go blow my nose really quick. Give me a second. Hold on. Whenever I drink tea, especially like tea that's like detoxifying and stuff, like this tea, it always brings up like the phlegm. It helps me clear out my sinuses, which is so good. Let me pour myself a little bit more of this delicious tea, actually. So yeah, moon opposite Uranus can have us feeling like a little chaotic, okay, especially emotional restlessness, okay, today, tomorrow, as the moon is separating from Uranus and the moon square Venus. This also Venus in Aquarius is really interesting as Venus is wrapping up in Aquarius. She's at 29 degrees right now. I want you guys to reflect on the last 3 weeks and what like moved or what shifted or what changed in some of your relationships and your social dynamics. I think Venus in Aquarius was a good transit for taking a look at the give and take in our relationships and like whether or not we feel this energy of like equality and fairness and accountability and like justice in our relationships. That's what Venus and Aquarius was trying to show us. And if we're not feeling this kind of like equilibrium or balance in our relationships, if we're not feeling like, seen or supported in our relationships, then Venus and Aquarius was trying to make us change, was trying to like trigger something or pivot something or get something to move or get us to address something. But now that Venus is in Pisces, we move into a much more emotional space for Venus. So this is going to be more about sentimentality. This is going to be more about affection, about compassion, in relationships and partnerships. Not so much communication, social engagement, social connection, quality, fairness, things like that. That was more of the Venus and Aquarius transit, okay? So then tomorrow the moon goes into Sag, and this is a very fun moon. I love when the moon's in Sag. To me, when the moon's in Sag, we're all having like a good time. It's very fun. It's very exciting. It's very physical. It's very expressive. Also, the moon in Sag. So the moon's gonna be in Sag Tuesday, Wednesday, going into Thursday. And then yeah, Thursday evening the moon goes into Capricorn. So the beautiful thing about the moon in Sag is that this moon transit is making a trine to the full moon in Leo that we had. So Leo trine Sagittarius. So the moon in Sag is actually making a trine based relationship to the moon in Leo. Okay. And the moon in Sag is also responding to an exalted Jupiter in Cancer. It's also in a Jupiter ruled sign, right? And it's also going to be sextiling the Sun and Mars, squaring Venus and Mercury, but sextiling the Sun and Mars. So with the fifth house energy, right, from the full with the moon transiting Sag, which is the fifth house away from a full moon in Leo, this is about fun and joy and self-expression. This is also about children, procreation, pleasure, desire, sex, things like this. Walking with the monks tomorrow, Wednesday in Washington. Oh, that is so cool. That is such a moon and Sag thing too. Going on a long distance journey with some gurus, with some spiritual people. That is moon and Sag energy. That is awesome. That's really cool that you're doing that. Walking with the monks in Washington. That's really, really cool. I'm glad that you're doing that. But yeah, Sag is long distance journeys, long distance travels. Gemini, opposite of Sag, is short distance journeys, short distance vacations. So we may find with the moon in Sag that we're feeling like we want to book a trip, we want to travel, we want to leave, and maybe some people leaving to go on vacation or go travel or something like this. Or maybe they're leaving with a lover, Venus and Pisces, moon and Sag. Maybe some of y'all are going somewhere for the weekend with your spouse for, Valentine's Day. They're taking you to Ensenada. You're going to TJ. Some of y'all are listen, the most romantic thing, your baby boy is taking you to TJ, okay? Who's going to Tijuana? Someone's going just over the border, not too far. Just over the we're just dipping our toes into Mexico for Valentine's Day. I'm taking you to TJ, baby, for Valentine's. We're not going. Wait, Ensenada, that's too far. Okay, wait a minute. We're not going that far. Slow Cabo, wait a minute, too expensive. Okay, I'm taking you to TJ for Valentine's. How romantic. 3-day volleyball tournament for your kids. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Sagittarius rules sports and athletics. Sagittarius is volleyball. I cannot tell you how many people, especially women, with Sag placements, clients. I have Sag clients. They have a sun, moon, or rising in Sag, and they did volleyball. Or they did either volleyball or soccer or running when they were in high school. It's like a stereotype for Sag women. They either were joggers or runners. They did volleyball or they did soccer when they were in high school, in college. Oh, me, you played? Oh, you played? Me, I played and have a national volleyball, softball, and field hockey. Aw, that's so funny. And have a national. Yep, that's a Sag thing. And the long legs, the long legs. It's so funny. You'll know a Sag woman Typically, not always, obviously, we have our various body types, but Sag women, you'll always see they have very long legs. They have long legs, they have a long torso, long arms. They'll be kind of long. They'll be kind of long and tall many times. That's like a Sag thing. The athletic body, it's a Sag Aries thing. And a nice butt. Yeah, and a nice butt. Mhm. Nice. What are these called? These are called you have your calves, your thighs, the thighs. Yeah. The thighs tend to be nice and thick and strong, and the butt is like well shaped. This is all ruled by Jupiter, by the way. So your hips, your glutes, your thighs, whatever these muscles are called, I don't remember the name of them. This is all ruled by Jupiter. That's all Jupiter. That's all ruled by Jupiter in the sign of Sagittarius. Okay, so yeah, the moon in Sag, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. People leaving for vacation, people leaving for travel, people going to things with their kids. The fifth house rules children. It's so funny. Like you're going to a volleyball tournament with your kids. Moon in Sag, fifth house away from the full moon in Leo. Makes a lot of sense. That's gonna be a lot of fun. Love that for you. Um, but yeah, also because Jupiter's exalted and this is the fifth house away from our full moon in Leo, I will also tell you guys the moon in Sag, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, is going to be bringing good, positive news for a lot of people, especially because Mercury and the North Node are coming into conjunction on Thursday. So, to me, this is looking like good, expansive opportunities, luck, good news, good outcomes, things like this. A lot of yes energy in the air. A lot of yes energy in the air. Okay. Um, with the moon in Sag, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Your event is on Friday. Well, we'll get there. We're gonna get to Friday because the moon's gonna go into Capricorn. And then oh, I actually think Friday's a really good day. Let's take a look at Friday. We love Friday too. Moon's opposing Jupiter. Who's going to a wedding this weekend? Anybody going to a wedding? We have the moon in Capricorn. Saturn is at 29 degrees Pisces. Friday. Jupiter is at 16. The moon is opposing Jupiter. The moon's sextiling Mercury in the North Node. So Friday, Saturday. The moon going through Capricorn. I will tell you though, the moon in Capricorn does put us to work. Okay. The moon, actually, it's funny because I'm actually doing a reading, I believe, on Saturday. And I typically do not do readings on weekends. I don't work on weekends. But I make exceptions because obviously there's people that cannot do readings on weekdays because they have jobs and things like this and families. And so they can only do readings on weekends. So I make exceptions for those people. And that's going to be doing a reading on Saturday, I believe. Um, yes, and that's when the moon's in Capricorn, and I'm going through my lunar return that day. The moon's gonna be, I'm looking at the moon at 24 degrees Capricorn on Saturday, February 14th. So yeah, the moon's gonna be in Capricorn. What I will say though is starting this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, the energy starts to ramp up. Things start to get a little frantic, chaotic, excited. Okay, energy is starting to build. We're starting to feel a little antsy. We're starting to feel a little stressed out. Oh, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? Well, guess what? The eclipses are coming. The eclipses are coming. It's because we are entering eclipse energy. We're gonna start to feel the eclipse energy mostly on Monday. Yeah, Monday, February 15th, when the moon goes into Aquarius. That's because the moon in Aquarius, it builds up to our solar eclipse in Aquarius that we're having next week on the 17th. Okay. So we're going to start to feel the buildup of this energy. This energy is going to start to, this kind of eclipse energy is going to start to show up um, this weekend. We're going to start to feel it mostly on like Saturday, I'm sorry, on Sunday, Monday, when the moon goes into Aquarius. The moon goes into Aquarius on Sunday, actually. Yeah, Sunday, Monday, the moon's in Aquarius. Then on Tuesdays when we have our solar eclipse, the 17th. So, We're gonna start to feel that energy. But the weekend is looking it's looking a little heavy for some folks because we do have Saturn 29 degrees and the moon's in Capricorn responding to 29-degree Saturn. Um, this is definitely going to be a week of work for some people. I will say there's people that are getting business arrangements together. They're having to figure out family stuff. Some people are also visiting family. Moon in Capricorn opposing Jupiter in Cancer. This looks like a visit, a family visit. Someone visiting their mom or their dad or something like this, or visiting a grandparent this weekend. There's people that we got to see. This is also a big message. I cannot tell you. This has been a big message that's been coming through for a lot of people. It's been coming through on my weekly forecast as well. Spend time with those that you love, especially the elderly. Make sure if you have a grandma or grandpa or great grandma or great grandpa or auntie or something like this, and they're getting older and they live far away and you want to see them and you want to make sure that you get to see them or they get to see you, whatever, whatever, before whatever, whatever, make sure you do that. Okay. I cannot tell you, it's been such a strong message. It's been coming through not only in my individual readings, but it's also been coming through with the collective readings or with the collective week ahead forecast that we do like this. Go visit the people that you need to visit and that you need to see, okay? Because time is of the essence. You know, it's a big message that's been coming through. Time is of the essence. And we're seeing this, we're seeing the Pluto in the Pluto in Cancer, Pluto in Leo generation passing. We're not gonna by the time Pluto goes into Aquarius, all the Pluto and Leo generation is gonna be gone. That's not what I meant to say. What I meant to say is by the time Pluto goes into Pisces, the all the Pluto and Leo generation is going to be gone, you know? So you want to make sure you're spending time with those people that do have the Pluto and Leo placement, okay? Because those people are not going to be here within the next 20 years. They're going to be gone, okay? So, yes. But yeah, Moon in Capricorn. This is the sixth house away from our full moon in Leo. So the Moon in Capricorn energy can also be about, the Moon in Capricorn this weekend could be about sickness, it could be about health, it could be our routines, about our pets, things like this. Maybe it's time to visit the doctor. Maybe it's time to, get that checkup. Maybe it's time to take a look at your daily plans or daily habits, whatever routines, make a change. The moon in Capricorn will kind of reveal us or show us these things. Okay, another thing, what I will say, because this is going to be a balsamic moon before the new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius. um Endings, closure, people passing, that tends to happen during a balsamic moon. And this is going to be a balsamic moon, the moon in Capricorn. So this weekend, we may see some karmic endings with things, especially because Saturn's at 29 degrees. Maybe we may see some politicians pass away, some celebrities pass away, um, an artist or a painter or a fashion person could pass away because of the Saturn in Pisces and the Moon in Capricorn and and then Venus also going to Pisces and stuff. So this kind of like combination and stuff like this. Another beautiful thing though, let me getting a download. I'm getting a download. I'm getting a download. Getting a download. The Moon in Capricorn opposite Jupiter in Cancer could also be about a good experience when it comes to living or moving, or like the purchasing of a home or the purchasing a property and real estate. This is going to be a very, very big theme for people this summer and the later half of this year. It's going to be a huge theme for people. People buying property, buying real estate, remodeling their home, things like this. And buying land in foreign places. It's going to be another one. So buying just like raw land, like underdeveloped, like non-developed land is going to be like a really, really big theme this summer for people. Buying land in their native homeland, right? So it's like, let's say you're Mexican, right? You're born in the States, right? Or maybe you have dual citizenship. Well, guess what? You want to buy some land in Mexico? Go ahead and do that, okay? So we're gonna see a lot of that. That's that. I was getting that download from the moon opposite Jupiter. Moon opposite Jupiter. Moon opposite Jupiter. But yeah, moon opposite Jupiter. It's about celebration, ceremony, fun, joy, visits with the family, procreation, births, things like this. Yes, yes, yes. So that's gonna be this weekend. So this week, what do we have happening? We have the moon. today, going go finishing up in Scorpio. Before the moon leaves Scorpio today, Monday the 9th, and goes into Sag, it's gonna separate from an opposition with Uranus and separate from a square with the sun. So this can be about, radical shifts and changes, unexpected things, tripping and falling. Be careful with any accidents from today going to tomorrow. Unexpected shifts and changes with our routine, stuff like this. Then the moon goes into Sagittarius for the next 3 days. Sag is very fun, exciting, expansive energy. This is the fifth house away from our full moon in Leo. So this is about children, it's about celebration, it's about partying, this is about fun, this is about sex, this is about dating, it's about romance, right? Venus has now moved into Pisces as of wait, hold on, where am I at? Where am I at? I just jumped way too far ahead. Venus has now moved into Pisces as of Tuesday, February 10th, right? So this energy of like love and affection and forgiveness and compassion's in the air. Um, Moon square Venus, though. Tuesday, Moon square Venus, Moon square Mercury. I don't know. This is kind of giving me the initiation or the beginning of things. So I don't know. This looks like dating new people, getting new jobs, meeting someone new. This is like that's the energy, okay? With the Moon and Sag. Some kind of expansion and growth that we're feeling. Traveling, visiting people, philosophizing, expanding, having fun, doing some kind of sports athletics thing, Moon and Sag. And then Thursday to Friday, the moon goes into Capricorn. And then we have the moon in Capricorn Friday, Saturday, going into Sunday. And then that's when things get a little serious. That's when things get a little staunch. But also, we got to keep in mind the moon in Capricorn is responding to Saturn, who's at 29 degrees Pisces, and who goes into Aries on Saturday, right? So Saturn's going into Aries, and we have our Saturn Neptune conjunction on Saturday, February 14th, which is Valentine's Day, as the moon is in Capricorn at the end degrees of Capricorn. What I will say about Saturday and February 14th is the moon in Capricorn will be squaring Chiron in Aries. So there can be some triggering stuff around relationships and partnerships that we deal with on Valentine's Day. Also, Venus is squaring Lilith and Sag. Venus in Pisces at 5, squaring Lilith at 6, which I don't like that transit. To be honest with you, I don't like Venus square Lilith because this is kind of giving me drama or giving me crisis in the realm of love and relationships and partnerships. And the Moon square Chiron is also triggering like emotional woundedness or bringing up some bullshit, um some emotional stuff that we're mad or angry about possibly. So what I will say about Valentine's Day in of itself is on this day we want to get very very clear with plans. You want to make sure that if there's any issues or problems that you don't bring them into Saturday, because there can be a moment that is emotionally triggering about Saturday, because Chiron and Aries is squaring the moon. Chiron and Aries is what hurts and the things that we're mad about, right? And so the moon square Chiron, we can find ourselves bringing up some shit at, Valentine's dinner that we should have just talked about during the week or that we shouldn't have brought to that day, right? So just keep that in mind, okay? Yes, for Saturday. And then the moon goes into Aquarius by Sunday evening, and the moon is with Pluto. All right. And then we're entering our eclipse energy. So things start to feel a little frantic, things start to feel a little chaotic. The sun is also squaring Uranus. So I'm really getting that this we're going to be seeing mass protests and mass walkouts and more like people versus government stuff with the solar eclipse in Aquarius that's coming up on February 17th. We'll talk about that more when we get there. But in general, people are going to be feeling very, very rebellious and very, very like wanting to make a dramatic shift or wanting to make a dramatic change. Starting February 15th on Sunday when the moon goes into Aquarius, building up to our full moon or our solar eclipse new moon in Aquarius. That's going to be on February 17th, where it's going to be squaring Uranus exactly. So, not exactly, I think it's like within a degree, but we're going to have the solar eclipse in Aquarius squaring Uranus and Taurus exactly within a degree. And so that Uranus energy, we're really going to be feeling that Uranus and Taurus energy during the eclipse or for this upcoming eclipse. And people are going to be really feeling this like they want to radically do something different. They want to radically evolve. And we may just see people, and you may feel this as well, you may just feel like rebelling against the way that things have been in your life. So there are certain structures, certain routines, certain patterns in your life, like things that are just like normal. you may start to rebel against whatever's normal in your life. Okay. You might be like, oh, I don't want this anymore. I don't want this job. I don't want this relationship. I don't want this. You may want to just make some big dramatic shift or change. You may feel compelled to do this as we build up into the new moon in Aquarius, the solar eclipse in Aquarius on February 17th. Okay. But I'll talk about the solar eclipse this weekend. So I'll do a live on the solar eclipse in Aquarius. Um, on Saturday. I think I'm gonna do it Saturday. Yeah, it's better. Yeah, the moon's gonna be in Capricorn, which is right on my moon. The eclipse is happening in Aquarius, beloved. We're gonna have a new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius. The solar eclipse is always a new moon, and it's always when the sun and the moon are together. So we get a solar eclipse when the sun and the moon are together. And I do believe the moon is passing over the sun. So it's when there's a big old hole and then it's all outlined, on the outside. It's all bright on the outside. A lunar eclipse is when the sun is opposite the moon. So a lunar eclipse is when there's the sun, the earth, and then the moon. And then what's happening is the earth is actually shadowing the moon. So the sun is emitting light onto earth, but the earth is actually shadowing the moon. So the moon's behind earth. And then that's why the moon gets all dark and looks all weird, it looks all orange, it looks like a certain color. Because that's a lunar eclipse. And that's what happens when the sun and the moon are opposite each other. And that's actually a full moon. So we get lunar eclipses during a full moon and we get solar eclipses during a new moon. Okay, does that make sense? So you guys can see it visually. You guys can see it visually. So a solar eclipse is when it's the sun, the moon, and then Earth. A lunar eclipse is when it's the sun, Earth, and then the moon. And then the lunar eclipse, the moon is getting shadowed by the Earth's shadow. During a solar eclipse, it's the sun and the moon, and it's the moon covering up the sun. Okay, so that's what we're going to be seeing. I don't know if it's going to be visible. We'll talk about that next week or this weekend when we go over the solar eclipse in Aquarius. I'm gonna do it on Saturday, February 14th. I'm gonna do it that morning. Actually, we're gonna go over it that morning because I know some of y'all got Valentine's Day plans. Okay. All right, my loves. I think we're gonna end it here. Any questions for me? Anything you guys want to ask about? Anything you want to talk about before I let you guys go? I got my DoorDash delivery coming in a bit. I'm gonna have some congee for lunch. I skipped breakfast. I didn't eat a breakfast. I woke up actually I've been sleeping better. I've been sleeping a lot better. So usually Aquarius season fucks up my sleep because it's my 12th house. But I actually slept pretty good last night. I'm gonna have some congee with some onion pancake. The You guys ever had that? The Chinese it's like what is it called? It's like a an onion pancake. What is it called though? I don't know if it's called a pancake. Yeah, the scallion pancake. Ugh, ugh, ugh. So good. One of the best thing. Oh my God, it's so good. If y'all have never had one of these, you are missing out. I'm gonna show you guys really quick. If you've never had one of these, the scallion, oh my God, you are missing out on life. These things are so good. I'm having some salted chicken congee with a scallion pancake. The beef ones, I've never had a beef one. They're all like light and crispy on the outside, and like it's all like chewy and like delicious, and like on the inside, and it's all like sweet. And they give you like a little dipping sauce to dip in it. Really, really good. That's what I'm gonna be having for lunch. So I'm just waiting for that delivery. It's coming. It's coming in a bit. So I'm hungry. I haven't eaten anything. So, but anything else you guys want to ask about or talk about before I let you guys go? Um, let's see if there's anything else that I could talk about. I think that's it. What I will say is with Mars and Aquarius, if you are a fixed sign, just be mindful of your health, okay? If you're Pisces, Virgo rising, Pisces, Virgo, be mindful of your health right now. Also, Cancer and Capricorn. Cancer, Capricorn, rising sun, moon, Pisces, Virgo, rising sun, moon. You guys need to be very, very mindful of your health, my loves. Pisces, Virgo, Cancer, Capricorn. Make sure you guys are taking good care of your immune system. Make sure you're taking care of your heart health, your blood health. Make sure you're taking care of your, yeah, it's like mostly cardiovascular health, okay? Mars and Aquarius could be triggering some health issues for Cancer, Capricorn, Virgo, and Pisces. How about court next Tuesday? Someone said court next Tuesday. Ooh. Are you like going through like a divorce or separation? Are you going through like custody battle or something? Like, is it for kids? Is it like relationship, partnership stuff, kid stuff? That's actually a really good day. And the moon's gonna be with Venus that day. We have Moon, Venus, North Node all together. Venus is actually conjunct the North Node that day. So, um, if you have Pisces placements, then this is probably gonna be good for you. If you're a water person, it's probably gonna be good for you. So if you have Pisces, Virgo, Cancer, Capricorn, is a very good day. It's a good day. It's a good day. The moon's gonna be with Venus. The moon's gonna be with Venus. Venus, the moon's gonna be with Venus in the North Node. We were trying to get out court and get along. Trying to get out. Yeah, it should be a good day. There should be some good stuff that day. Love that for you. Love that for you. Just, just like anticipate like some unexpected bullshit though. Like you might, there could be that day, like show up early. There could be some like misorganization. And don't forget anything as well. Don't forget any like important paperwork or anything like this. Make sure you have all your documentation, all your paperwork in order. Show up early. Don't show up late that day. Um, Mainly because Uranus is active that day. And yeah, we have like Uranian energy that day. That's the day of the eclipse. Yeah, it's the day of the eclipse. Yeah. Yeah, whatever happens. Okay, this is one of the things I'll tell you guys. Whatever happens around the eclipse is part of like fate. It's like destiny. It's like karma. It's like things that you absolutely have to do or have to go through that are part of your karmic timeline that are going to get you to the next chapter of your life. And it's important to like take notice of what happens around eclipses because usually those happenings are trying to show you something about your own karmic narrative or karmic story or something. Like they're the nodes are trying to show you something or teach you something. In general, though, the eclipses are considered challenging and malefic. They're considered difficult. All right. Okay, my love. So I'm gonna let you guys go. It's 12 o'clock on the dot. It's 12 o'clock on the dot. I'm in my drop top, cruising the streets. Yeah. I got this real pretty, pretty little thing that's waiting for me. Who knows that? I pull up. That was a jam back in the day. That's Venus and Pisces right there. Anticipating good love. Don't keep me waiting. That was the jam back in the day. I got plans to put my hands in places I've never seen, girl. You know what I mean. Let me take you to a place that's nice and quiet. I know that was a jam. We need that music back. Bring back that like 2000s, 90s R&B. We need that music to make a comeback. I need that music back in my life. Okay? Romance died when that music left us. I swear, that's when all the men just that's when all the men just went to shit. Is when R&B left, is when all the men and all the lovers just went to shit. We need that back. We need that music back. Okay? We do. It's it's there's like a big vacancy. There's like a big hole in our there's like a big cultural hole right now where it needs to be filled by that music. That like lovey-dovey romantic music. Yeah, bring back the real yearners. Yeah. We need some of that jagged edge. We need some of that boys to men. We need some of that boom boom boom. Tell me what you're gonna do. I don't have no kind of high. What the you guys know Bone Thugs. We need some Bone Thugs in harmony. Okay. That's what we need. We need this back. Okay, it's missing. And we're missing it, honestly. Like we need this music back, okay? This Cisco. I think when the thong song came on, everything changed. I think the thong song was a big cultural pivot point. Once the thong song came on, that's when we started getting all this like, oh no 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 myself what's that? That's when music started to like shift. After the thong song, that was like what, 2001, 2002? I think that's when music started to shift into like a very hypersexual, space. Um, Here's another song that was coming to me. Now I found myself a chili. No, that's more of a modern song. I was thinking about the song back in the day. Oh well, it'll come to me. But I love you all so much. Thank you for spending time with me today. And yeah, I hope this astrology hasn't been too rough on you guys. And we got the eclipses coming up, my loves. So, make sure you guys are taking care of yourselves, be well, and make sure you're pouring into your own cup. Okay? Mwah! And Brittany brought out the snack. Yeah. There was this song that I was thinking about. Baby, you're my angel. You're my darling, baby. Girl, you're my friend when I'm in need, lady. Baby, you're my angel. You're my darling, baby. Who sings that song? Who's gonna have your back when it's all done? Shaggy! Shaggy! What happened to that song? What happened to these musicians? Girl, you're my angel. You're my darling, babe. The Shaggy. Yeah, that was a good one. He was so funny. Oh, the It Wasn't Me song. You guys remember that song? It wasn't me. Call me running on the counter. It wasn't me. Even money in the shower. You didn't call me on camera. That's when everything started to take a turn. Saw the marks on my shoulder. Every word that I told him. We're taking it back to the 2000s right now, you guys. He was a Scorpio, by the way. That's so funny. Oh no, he's a Libra. He's a Libra everything. The Scorpio moon though, Venus and Sag. Yeah, Shaggy a little bit of a cheater, a little Shaggy definitely a Libra man, but definitely a cheating Libra man, Venus and Sag. Whenever you see a Libra man and he has Venus and Sag, that's a cheating man right there. I hate to say it. He's a Libra stellium with Venus and Sag. That combination of the Sun and Libra with Venus and Sagittarius. That combination. Right there. That's a very, very ugh, ugh. That's a rough one right there. I like it when a Libra man has Venus in Virgo though, because it makes him very insecure and it makes him like very humble. and it makes him just like it makes him like a really good shy partner. But when a Libra man has Venus and Sag, oh man, I don't know. He can be a little. And also when a Libra man has Venus and Scorpio, oh my God. Uh, and he's Jamaican. Yeah, he's Jamaican. He's Jamaican. Yeah, it's funny. He has a Scorpio moon. It's funny how we're talking about how Shaggy came up today, and he has a Scorpio moon, and he has Scorpio moon. Yeah, he has moon and Scorpio around. It's funny because the moon's a Scorpio today. An insecure man is, you know what though? We like it when a man's a little insecure. It's okay. I like it when a man's a little secure because it makes him very humble and kind of sweet, kind of nice. When a man is too arrogant and too prideful, you know, he just, I don't know, he can become a menace. Like, I actually know a Libra man that has Venus and Leo, and that man is, I don't know. There's something about the combination of the sun in Libra with Venus and a fire sign, like Venus and Leo, Venus and Sag. I don't know. There's something about that combination that just makes, he thinks he's the shit. He thinks he's the shit. And bro, like, you're not the shit. Like, relax. Okay. Calm down. Like, calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down. Okay. It's, yeah. It's the combination of the Leo and the Libra. In a man's chart, though, I'm talking about this in a man's chart. These are very different in a woman's chart. It's very, very important things. I want you guys to understand this. Energies, planetary energies show up differently in people based on gender. It really does. And just people in general, right? But I really see the difference, though. I really see the difference gender-wise of how placements show up differently when that placement's in a man's chart and a woman's chart. Very, very different. It's important to differentiate those things because a woman with Venus and Leo is not going to relate to that Venus the way a man with Venus and Leo is going to relate to that Venus. They're going to be very, very different. The way that they manifest, the way they express themselves is very, very differently. You know. But yeah, when a man has Sun in Libra, Venus in Leo, oh, Lordy. He's gonna be handsome though. One thing I will tell you, when a man's got Sun in Libra with Venus in Leo, that's gonna be a very attractive, handsome man. He's gonna be very social, he's gonna be very friendly, he's gonna be very outgoing, but you know, he may be a little too friendly. Maybe a little too friendly, if you know what I mean. Okay. Yes. All right, my love. So I'm gonna let you guys go. I have to use the restroom, and my food's on its way. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you guys spending the time with me today. I'm gonna go ahead and post this on um what is that website called? YouTube. Oh, we're gonna post this on YouTube in a bit. If you guys want to go rewatch it there, you can. I'm gonna post it on Instagram. So if you guys want to watch it there, you can as well. Okay. Love you all so much. Have a beautiful week. I'll see you guys on Saturday for the solar eclipse in Aquarius live that we're going to be doing. We'll do it at the same time, 10 a.m. Saturday. I can go live on YouTube. Maybe I'll do that for this Saturday. Maybe I'll start doing that this Saturday. So maybe what I'll do this Saturday is I'll like figure that out this week and I'll start going live on YouTube so I don't have to like upload it. I could just do the lives on YouTube and Instagram and just post them there like concurrently. Is that a word? Concurrently? Co-currently? Concurrently? Dude, where do these words be coming from? Like I be using words sometimes that I have no idea like where they're coming from or where I like learned that word. Oh yeah, at the same time, simultaneously. Yeah, concurrently. Look at me and my Mercury. Look at me using big words. I think it's because I have Sun Mercury together that I just, I'm kind of good with words sometimes. I did take the SATs, my loves, and I got a high score in the SAT test too. Yes, I did get a high score in my SAT. I'm kind of a smart guy. Did you guys know that? I'm kind of smart. I uh I took AP classes. I got an A in physics. My physics teacher loved me so much that I was his TA my senior year of college or my senior year of high school. I actually have a degree. I went to college. I got my bachelor's and I got a minor. I got my bachelor's in social justice and nonprofit work, and I got a minor in sociology. So I promise you, I'm kind of smart. There's some brains behind this head. Okay. Behind this forehead, behind this big old forehead, there's some brains back there. I promise you. There's some brains back there. All right, my guy. All right, my loves. I love you guys so much. Have a good day, okay? I'm gonna stop fluffing myself up. The moon's in Scorpio right now. That's why I'm fluffing myself up a bit. The moon's going over my Venus right now, so yes, yes, yes. The moon's going over my Venus. The moon's at 24. All right, beautiful people. Well, see you guys. Okay, bye.